Hello to all my Lois loyalists out there. There still seems to be some of us out there. My name is EJ Marino and welcome to my channel. We have a brand new review today. Thank you all for joining me for last week's Grotesquerie. It is one of my most watched videos for this entire season. It is so awesome, but we are jumping into two new episodes. We are talking about Grotesquerie Episode 8 and Episode 9. For this to be the penultimate kind of vibes that we're getting from Grotesquerie, I have to say I'm a bit conflicted. On one hand, this is one of the best acted, dramatic horror stories I have seen in such a long time. I mean, they got legend icon Catherine Hunter having scenes with Niecy Nash. I'm gonna love this show. Like, there is such good things happening. On the other hand, the storytelling method is strange, and they definitely made a weird 2 episodes here that feel like such a come down. We were so high at episode 7 that this was going to have to be a come down. We were always going to have to kind of readjust to this new setting, and we are readjusting. That's what this entire, basically 2 episodes was about, was Lois readjusting to this world, having her issues with Merritt, having issues with Marshall, having her issues with Megan. My goodness, well, Merritt, Megan, Marshall, all the M's there. I'm sure that means something in the codex of this show. But yeah, we're seeing Lois kind of deal with the ramifications of her dreams, because my goodness, did we need to tell everyone what she was feeling about them subconsciously? I would be pissed at that doctor, because I'm like, what do you mean everyone knows how I felt about them in my brain, even Ed?
To what end? To what end?
Even Ed needs to know. His mullet doesn't need to know anything. He wasn't even in these episodes. He is such a figure, though, of, wow, you really cheated on, you had an affair with your daughter's husband? Girl, Lois, decisions were made throughout. I mean, I don't know how I feel about any of these people, because no one is good, no one is really truly bad yet, because again, someone like Red, who was so bad in the dream world, she's like almost a victim here. She feels so bad, she doesn't want to be with Marshall anymore. I mean, I love Courtney B. Vance. I would spend my life with him. Not this version of him, though. Marshall, get out of my life. Yeah, these episodes were strange because it was really the adjustment period. It wasn't until the end of episode 9 where we got an actual murder that was reminiscent to the Grotesquerie ones, and then we got the explosive, I mean, that man's head is gone. Yeah, we got all of that by the end of episode 9, and it just felt like a slow build there, especially episode 8. That was all set in that therapy setting, really. Yeah, I like these episodes. Again, I'm never going to be a Grotesquerie hater. I know some of you in my comments each week are like, this show sucks, and I'm like, you could have tuned out. And I'm not saying that to be mean or nice or anything, but like, you don't have to watch this. You can watch my reviews. Please join me for that. But you don't have to really watch this show, because again, it is very strange. The storytelling methods are odd. The whole, it was a dream to now, I'm glad it didn't end with it was all a dream. I would say that. I'm glad we are getting these episodes to kind of adjust to this reality, because this definitely feels more grounded than the Grotesquerie universe that we saw in the dream, but it still feels weird. There's still something strange happening. There's still a mystery afoot, and I'm happy to be solving it with you all and this production and this crew and these actors. Wow. Again, there's a lot that happens throughout these 2 episodes, but for the most part, we're going to be talking about people talking. Episode 8 is the one that I dub the Sessions episode, because we are mostly just dealing with the therapist, the doctor man, just kind of being like, hey, Megan, do you view yourself as the villain in this world? And, you know, we're seeing Megan's kind of confessing a lot in a, you know, her feelings with Lois. Like, she doesn't look at herself as an adversary, even though Lois seems to do it. You know, there seems to be the job issues. You know, these two stem from having beef with work, with her taking her position, it feels, and Lois just kind of being forced out of retirement, which is, you know, the stuff that we dealt with in the dream as well. We also get stuff like the punch bowl was very reminiscent to the punch, you know, to the hotel pool. There's so many, like, now things starting to really align with each other, and I do like that. And we're seeing Megan's feelings, and we're seeing Megan's life. Megan has a very hard life at home. She's dealing with a man that is abusing her, but I mean, she also puts that gun in that mouth and does not pull that trigger. And I don't know. Megan, you had the opportunity to get him gone, especially when she was like, well, the cops are gonna notice you're beating me. I worked there. And he's just like, do it, bitch. I would have done it. Episode 8 is really where I get a lot of good Lois moments. We get our timeline. She was in there for 6 weeks. It is COVID related, which I thought was crazy as well, which explained her feelings in the dream state. We also get a lot of what her subconscious was feeling while putting Merritt in the half-ton trauma show and what that meant for her. And, she doesn't really have that much ill will towards Merritt, so why was that the manifestation of it? Then we get stuff like Red, she feels like she feels bad for her because of the Marshall situation, how she put Marshall in a coma, what she did with Ed's character and made him this kind of angel because he's the one that felt very angelic to her because he came to her in a time of need. Yeah, it's interesting to see a lot of her manifestations and how it plays to so much difference than what's in this reality. But at the same time, maybe Merritt isn't as horrible as she was in the Grotesquerie world. Merritt still has some issues. I love seeing this kind of this complex things of exploring how we feel about people, how that manifests, and then how we look at them. I mean, I've had dreams where I wake up and I look at my partner and I'm like, I will fight you for what you just did in my dream. I think that's really interesting of what our subconscious does. And this whole episode was explaining Lois's subconscious and really getting into her feelings. But as reality can be, sometimes it's harder dealing with this stuff than honestly, she probably wants to be back in that dream world solving mysteries. With Lois not really having anybody, she has this case that, Andrea case that really sparked that beef with her and Megan. Then she has Maisie, the older woman, played by Katherine Hunter. If you've ever seen Katherine Hunter in specifically The Tragedy of Macbeth, the Denzel Washington Coen-directed one, one of my favorite movies I have seen in the past couple years. So good. But yeah, this is all that Lois has left. So Megan has to drive her there. I mean, she reads Megan for that bruise that she has. But basically, Maisie's going to be driving her around this last couple bits of this episode, really dealing with what she dealt with. She has this amazing end moment with Merritt, with Merritt, and it's so good. Raven's acting is so good. I mean, the difference of her, the similarities between Dream Merritt and real Merritt, it's so good. And they get into it about the affair. Merritt slaps her, and Lois kind of eats it at first, and Lois maybe feels like she needs to eat some poop to kind of figure out the path that she's on. She wants to figure out why is everything like this, and it's complicated for her, and it's complicated for me as well. Episode 9 really has the face-off we've been waiting for. Lois and Marshall in reality. We found out that Marshall whispered that I want you dead. He gets into it with her. She gets into it with him. And poor Red's there like, I don't want to be with this man anymore. They have a scene later on in the episode where Red's just basically like, you divorcing him is now leaving me with him full time. I like the escape. I like this. Now he's horrible. And Lois is just like, that's why I did what I needed to do with Ed. Yeah, again, I still, there's the stuff between Merritt and Lois that is interesting. Can you forgive somebody, especially your mother, for sleeping with somebody so close to you, like your own partner? And, I love did you love him? Did you love him? Those are great. And I really love the Marshall Lois beginning, especially the shout out to Tarpon Springs. Lois, do you want to move 25 minutes from me? I will join you. Girl, we will go to Sponge Docks together. I will have a great time. Lois, come on down. Bring Maisie too. I'll hang out with both of y'all.
Bitch, I'm here every week.
But yes, so we're seeing Lois kind of, want to close this chapter off, but it's not being able to be closed yet. She does get more doctor sessions. They bring in this dream doctor, and I'm still getting very not American Horror Story. Well, American Horror Stories does have the dream stuff, but I'm getting very, Nightmare on Elm Street, dream doctors, or we're going to get Hypnosil to, make her stop dreaming. Maybe she wants to go back into that dream state so she can live there and have these, weird dream life. And I'm like, oh, where are we going with Lois? But she does have another confrontation with Merritt, and those are good. Raven and Niecy Nash together are eating it up. Niecy Nash-Betts is doing some of her best career work I've ever seen. Get her at least an Emmy nomination, especially for this later half of the season where she's really reflecting, doing a lot of great monologues. We get this, her feelings about her father. He was the man that got them out of the fire. All of these little details are just adding into something great. So again, a lot of sessions, a lot of talking, but the end of episode 9 is where things get spicy, and some of the best stuff that I've seen in this show yet. Lois is brought onto the case, much like how she brought Megan on as help. She's there now to deal with Megan's having to deal with the Grotesquerie murders. The first murder that we saw in the dream is now in reality, and Lois does not know how to handle this. It must be like jaw-dropping. Is there a copycat killer? Who could this copycat killer be? I have a feeling that we won't really ever find out, or maybe they're going to blame it on Marshall, because they do have something that they need an alibi for, maybe somebody to blame, because the abusive boyfriend Justin shows up at the motel that Lois and Megan are at. He beats the hell out of Megan, and I'm like, Megan, do something, girl. Like, I understand in this scenario that is all you can do is do something, save yourself, get out of the scenario, and that's how I feel. But you know who gets her out of that?
Denise Hempfield.
Lois, because that man does the same thing. What are you gonna do, shoot me? And she goes, I guess I will. Bam, kills. Awesome. Get away, get all the abusers out of the show. I need Marshall gone. I guess Lois might be an abuser too. I need all of the abusers gone, I guess, except for Lois, asterisk to my statement. But yeah, this episode ended on such a big burst of a moment, and I'm like, oh, we had so much slow prodding, a lot of monologues, a lot of intense moments between two actors, but this was a good piece of action with the murder, and then with the other murder, with the ending of this episode. It was really a jaw-dropping ending, and it really adds more layers to it. Where does Lois go from here? Where do Megan go from here? Is a copycat killer happening? So many questions that I'm actually excited to see the finale attempt to do it. Do I think we're going to get a fully satisfying ending? Well, we're doing a lot of, at least we got a lot of the talking out of the way for these two episodes, so maybe this final 10th episode could be jam-packed with action, with a bunch of oh my god moments. Give me another plot twist. I want something more. We're building something great here. I just don't want this ending to let me down, because the potential's there, but the potential to be a great ending is also there. Well, everyone, that is it for my review of episode 8 and 9 of Grotesquerie. I've loved this season so far. Like, it's not perfect. I have my issues, but I've just loved the ride. Love talking about it with you all specifically. Thank you again for joining me, for subscribing, for talking with me. It's such a joy to have this Grotesquerie, this Ryan Murphy-based family. I have so much more planned for the end of the year. I have so much more planned for hopefully the end of the month. So guys, keep on subscribing, keep on watching. If you want me to watch something that you all like, I will probably venture into the new Dexter show in December as well. That is a bit away, but if you have something you want me to watch, let me know down in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel and let me know what you feel. Give me a thumbs up, because YouTube takes those way too seriously, and let's talk about Grotesquerie right down below.